In the heart of the city stood the Atheria Grand Library, a sanctuary not just of books, but of the souls who wrote them. For Elara, the junior archivist, it was home. But she held a secret. She didn't just read the words. She felt them, a strange and overwhelming empathy with the ink and paper. Some books hummed with joy, warming her skin. Others, like this forgotten tome of war poems, radiated a chilling sorrow that left a phantom ache in her bones. This sensitivity was her burden and her gift, a connection to the past she could share with no one, for who would ever believe her? The library's fate now rested with Julian Atheria, the last of his line. He was a man of the future, yet deeply tied to his family's legacy. He sought not just a curator, but a true guardian. Someone who understood that a library's worth is measured in more than just monetary value. Julian announced a global competition to find the next head archivist. The world's most renowned bibliophiles, historians, and academics answered the call. They saw a prestigious title and a collection beyond price. They saw the books, but not the stories held within. Encouraged by her mentor, Elara entered the competition, her heart aflutter with doubt. What could she offer against such esteemed scholars? She had no fame, no wealth, only her strange, secret connection to the library's silent, beating heart. Amidst a sea of polished resumes, Julian found Elara's application. Her words were different. She wrote not of cataloging systems or preservation techniques, but of the lingering spirit of the authors. A spark of hope ignited within him. Perhaps he had found a kindred spirit. The initial tests were designed to weed out the unqualified, while others scrutinized watermarks and chemical signatures. Elara relied on her unique sense. The forgery felt hollow, lifeless, a perfect copy with no soul, no echo of the passionate hand that penned the original. She identified it instantly. Her success was noted, while the other judges dismissed it as a lucky guess. Julian saw something more. He saw an intuition that went beyond academic knowledge, a deeper understanding that he had been searching for all along. The final test would reveal the truth. Only 3 remained. For their final challenge, Julian led them to the Heartwood chamber, the library's core. "Your task is simple," he announced, his voice echoing in the stillness. "Spend 1 night here. In the morning, tell me what you have discovered." The first finalist, a renowned collector, immediately sought out the most valuable artifacts. He saw the chamber as a treasure chest, its contents a means to enhance his own prestige, his mind calculating the immense wealth surrounding him. The second, a methodical historian, saw only data. She began her work with detached precision, planning to catalog and digitize the unlisted scrolls. For her, the chamber was a puzzle to be solved, a gap in the historical record to be filled. But Elara felt it the moment the door closed. A profound sadness, a crushing weight of despair that settled over the room like a shroud. It was a silent scream that only she could hear, and it made the very air thick and difficult to breathe. The source was hidden, not in a grand manuscript or a historical text, but on an ordinary shelf. At the bottom of a stack of blank craftsman's journals lay the P, a single, unassuming diary where a forgotten poet had bled every ounce of their heartbreak and loneliness onto the pages centuries ago. The night wore on. The collector and the historian, deaf to the chamber's true secret, eventually settled down. But for Elara, there was no rest. The emotional storm raging from that corner was a tempest, and she was caught in its unrelenting grip. It was a feeling of loss so profound, so absolute, that it brought tears to her eyes. She felt the poet's isolation, the agony of unspoken words and unrequited love. It wasn't just a story, it was a life, a soul, trapped and crying out from within the pages. She couldn't bear to touch it, to fully immerse herself in such agony. Instead, she offered the only thing she could, a moment of silent communion, of shared grief. An archivist's respect for the text, and a sensitive soul's empathy for the author. Dawn broke, dispelling the shadows, but not the lingering sorrow. Julian returned to find 2 candidates eager to present their findings lists of treasures and cataloged data. And then he saw Elara, weary but serene, waiting quietly. The collector boasted of his discoveries, of market values and auction potential. He spoke of the books as assets, his voice devoid of any wonder for the knowledge they held. Seeing only price tags where there should be passion, the historian presented her meticulous research, her academic triumph. She had conquered the chamber, reducing its mysteries to footnotes and citations. She had read the lines, but missed the story written between them, the humanity that gave them meaning. Finally, Julian turned to Elara. His voice was soft, yet it carried the weight of his hope and expectation. He didn't ask what she had found, but what she had discovered. The distinction was everything. She didn't speak of value or data. She spoke of a feeling, a presence. "Last night," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "this room wasn't just a collection of objects, it was a vigil. Someone here is still grieving, and they shouldn't have to be alone with it anymore." In that moment, Julian knew. He retrieved the poet's journal, the Atheria family's greatest secret and its most sacred trust. "For generations, my family has sought someone who could hear it," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Not with their ears, but with their heart. The library doesn't need another collector or another cataloger," Julian declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "It needs a guardian. It needs you, Elara." He offered her not just a job, but a legacy, a purpose for the gift she had always seen as a curse. Her sensitivity was no longer a secret to be hidden, but a strength to be celebrated. In the heart of the Atheria Library, Elara found her place. She became the keeper of echoes, the guardian of whispers, ensuring that no story and no soul would ever be truly forgotten. A true connection found not through a test of royalty, but of empathy. And so, the library thrived under its new guardian. It became more than a collection of books. It became a sanctuary of empathy, a place where the stories on the page were felt as deeply as they were read. All thanks to the librarian who could feel the P. Night Elara, Night Librarian. Subscribe for more storytelling.